Hey, Nicole. Hey, Angelia, how you been? Girl, I've been good. What about you? Girl, everything's been going good. What's new with you? Honey, out here trying to be my own boss and I'm making these money moves. You know, I've been trying to stay fit and work on my health and my wellness. All right now. What about the issues us women are facing today and the struggle with these relationships? Oh my gosh. Girl, that's just too heavy. Let's go hit up the hot spots and happenings. Girl, let's talk.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Angelia and Nicole. Thank you guys. And my guest today is going to be Jan Osborn. Jan, come on out. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Girl, let's get ready and talk.
Okay, let's talk.
Yes, let's talk. Thank you, Jan, for coming to visit us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
My co-host, Nicole King, is out traveling, so I'm having to hold it down for her today. So thank you once again. So we're going to talk about today how you turn your grief into a rescue mission. Tell us, who is Jan Osborn, and what do we need to know?
Well, I'd like to think that Jan Osborn is a happy person that makes people smile and hopefully does a little bit of good along the way. But I'd like to think that I'm a good wife of 35 years.
35 years? That means you're a great wife.
I think, well, I have a good husband.
Great.
And then I like to think I'm a good mom. And I hope a good friend to people.
Yes. So tell me about your dreams growing up. What was it that you always dreamed you would do, or where would you be in life?
You know, I'd really never thought about it that much. Back in the 60s in Arkansas, you know, I wasn't thinking about being a scientist or something like that. I'm really embarrassed. I think I just thought about raising kids and being happy. So I have to say that I have really been pleased with the life I've been given.
So you say Arkansas. I'm
Yes.
from Arkansas. Well, shout out to Arkansas
Shout
Razorbacks.
out.
Pig
Pig
Suey.
Suey, absolutely.
Yes. So little birdie told me you're from, little birdie told me you were once Miss Benville.
Oh no.
Were you really?
Well, it was very accidental. It was very accidental. They were short one contestant, and since my father was minister of the church where the lady who did the pageant attended, he insisted that I fill that one position. And I guess since I didn't really care and wasn't too nervous about it, I won.
So you
The
won.
1 year they didn't do talent
I was
the
going to
year.
say, what was your talent?
I was going to say the 1 year that they didn't do talent out of 50 years, I did not have to do talent.
So you wasn't your talent. Great. So tell me about Jan before she got married. Tell me about that precious Arkansas girl.
Well, the Arkansas girl's a little bit of a tomboy, loved growing up playing sports, loved to play softball and go out, and my dad had a farm, so I did love to go out on the farm and haul hay. And then when I came to Texas, it was quite a change for me. You can understand, it's a big change from small town Arkansas.
Especially growing up on a farm. My great grandfather had 88 acres of land. I was country girl and a farm girl, and Dallas was just too big and too fast starting out.
It really is. It was very different. First, I remember the first time that I drove first to Fayetteville and then drove to Little Rock, and then I graduated to the big city of Dallas. Now I don't think about it when I drive all over the country. When I'm driving in New York City, I sometimes remember those little wrecks I had in Bentonville, Arkansas.
So you reminded. So what is life like being a wife?
Well, for me, it's a great life. My husband is also my best friend. We've been married, like I say, for 35 years. So we have a lot of fun together. I think the best thing is that we can still just look at each other and laugh. And I know that he's going to be there for me no matter what. And I think he knows that I will be there for him until the end.
Yes. And so you have a set of twins. Tell me about how your life changed with the twins.
Well, when the twins came along, I had an 18-month-old. And so I had a couple of years where it was very, very busy. You learn when you have twins that if one of them wakes up in the middle of the night hungry, you just go on and get up and feed them both at the same time. We used to rush because I won't say which one was a little bit easier to feed and get back to sleep. So we would both rush and try to grab that baby in the middle of the night and feed him first so we could put him right back to bed and go to sleep.
So tell me about the story about the twins. Did something happen to one of them?
Well, Zachary was diagnosed with Kawasaki's disease.
What is that?
It is a very rare disease that you have a fever, and it made the arteries around his heart swell, and he ended up getting a aneurysm around his heart. And so even though it is not a fatal disease, it's about 0.005 people that it's fatal or that they have an aneurysm. Zachary fell in that category. So one day before his second birthday, we lost Zachary to Kawasaki's disease.
How was that emotionally for you?
Well, I think that what people don't realize when you lose a child, you are in such shock. I think you're on autopilot for the first few years. I look at people now and people say, oh, they're doing so well, and I think, well, they're still in the shock stage.
Yes.
And so that's what we did. I worked and I was in the shock mode and just tried to see that everyone else was doing okay. I felt like since my husband was self-employed, I needed to make sure that he was able to go to work. So I kept the facade up that everything was fine. I wanted everyone, especially my parents, Scott's parents, I wanted them to be okay, and I knew if I could prove that I was okay, that it would help them. So that was a very big act for me for the first couple of years, to really show people that I was okay so that I would know they would be okay.
And you said the key word was the act, so it wasn't really that you were okay.
No.
So since you weren't okay and you were acting like that, what effect did this have on your relationship, losing a child?
Well, luckily, Scott and I realized we did not know that Zachary's disease would be fatal. But we had about a 2-week notice in the hospital. So one of the things he and I talked about is that we would each grieve in our own way, which meant for him, you know, being silent and maybe going and sleeping more. And to me, it was nervous energy. It was going straight into the house, taking the baby bed down, and just staying really busy. You can only keep that up for so long.
So long. And you get burnt out because you're just like, you can't function.
You can't, but I felt it was so important that if I could show people that I was okay, that they would be okay. It was very important to me every year to send out a Christmas card to show that our family was happy. I look back now, and as soon as the kids graduated from high school, I said, I will never send another Christmas card. And I have, yes. But it was very important to me at the time because people showed us so much love and knew the grief that we were going through, that it was really important for me to show them, okay, we are going to be okay.
And you sound like you were so strong during this process because you keep referencing, I had to show people that I was okay, even if you weren't okay.
Yes.
And so, you know, I guess I'm just trying to figure out, did you ever feel like giving up because you put up for so long the persona, I'm good, it's all right, you know, we're going to get through it. Did you ever want to give up?
Yes. That came when I finally was worn out about 5 years into it.
5 years of putting up a front.
Yes, and I think what so many people don't realize about grief is that there are different stages. And with the loss of a child, it's different than losing a parent or something. You're losing your flesh and blood.
Yes.
And so it's not, a lot of times people can say, you know, give it a year, you're going to feel differently. Well, I had a couple of people I had met that I think had just been put in my place for a reason. God put them and to meet me for a reason. And they explained to me, it's different with a child. You're not going to feel better in a year. Get ready. It's going to take you 3 years before you feel better. And I can tell you, it took 3 years before I even got past the shock of it, really accepting it. And then after you get through the shock of it, all of a sudden you realize, I haven't grieved.
Yes.
I haven't gone through depression.
So how did you channel that energy to now take time to heal?
Well, I tell you what, the sad part is it goes from the shock part, all of a sudden it was real to me. And then I felt the anger. I just really felt the anger that, okay, God, why would you do this to
me?
Yes, to us. We have done what we were supposed to do. We've followed the rules, tried to be the best parents. Why is this happening to us? And so it was really hard for me to accept that. And a good friend of mine was very helpful. I spoke with him and I said, I'm so worried because I'm so angry with God. I am so angry with God. And he was so reassuring and said, God has really big shoulders. He's had a lot of people mad at him.
Yes, lean on him and trust him in his
He's had a lot of people mad at him. I think he can take you being mad at him too.
Yes.
And so I finally accepted the fact that, I knew that God would love me even though I was a little bit mad at him. And I will say that one day I do have some questions for him.
Yes, and it's okay.
I have some questions for him.
It is okay. So where are you at now in this process? And where are you at now basically in your life?
Well, thank goodness I was able to, after all of these years, to refocus my energies. And it goes back to a luncheon I went to in Dallas where a good friend of mine was receiving an award. It was Don Williams, and he was talking about putting your energy back into people who really needed it. And so I realized if I would quit focusing on my own problems and start focusing on helping other people, that my problems wouldn't seem quite as large. And so I jumped into the volunteer world, and I have met so many wonderful people, been able to raise a lot of money for Dallas, which has been fun. And now I'm able to go to Ghana and really fulfill my dream of seeing these kids, that I feel like because of what we're doing, they have a chance.
You've given them hope. So tell us about Ghana, because you have a place called Zachary's Place?
Yes, it's called Zachary's House.
Zachary's House.
It is, my friend Pam Cope and her husband rescued some children from Ghana. And after she rescued them, they were in forced labor. They worked on the lake. And so she realized you can't just put these kids who have been forced labor kids in an orphanage. They're not orphans. They were sold by their parents.
Oh, wow.
And so Pam realized that we needed to build a facility for them. So 5 years ago, they bought property in Kumasi, Ghana, and they built houses for the kids that we have. And when I was talking to Pam, she said, have you ever done anything for Zachary? And I said, we've always given back, to the Red Wagons or honored him in certain ways. And she said, have you ever thought about doing a house in his memory? And so we thought this would be great. So this little house that we were going to build for boys ended up, they needed girls to live there because we had just gotten girls. So Zachary's house housed 14 of the most precious little girls you've ever seen.
That's phenomenal. That's amazing. So you really did turn your grief into a giving, basically you turned your grief into giving hope back to people, because you said the kids were in slavery?
Yes.
And so they were being used?
Yes. They were
for labor?
They were sold by their parents thinking that they were selling them to learn a trade and maybe getting a little schooling. And sadly, that is not what was happening. But I will say that now we work closely with social services in Ghana, and they are working hard so that the child labor problem hopefully will end in Ghana.
Yes.
So our goal is to educate these kids so that they can go back into their village and educate the village and no longer have forced child labor.
How can we get involved? I would love to help you, so how can we get involved?
Well, I would love to. First of all, you can go to our website, which is Touch a Life Kids.
Look at the audience and tell them, because they want to know too, how can they get involved?
It's touchalifekids.org. And if you follow us, there are so many different things we do. We have over 100 kids, and there's any different sponsorships, from sponsoring a child to an education sponsorship, and art healing. We do a lot of art healing with our kids. So I hope you'll look at our website, scroll down to the bottom where it shows the videos, because we have a lot of footage of Pam Cope and her husband going out on the lake and rescuing these kids, and you will see the happiest
I've seen
kids.
You and them, and it's just been like, it puts a smile back on your face.
Thank you.
And so I know Zachary's so glad that you took what happened to him and still made his life live on through someone else.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
And what we
definitely.
like to say at Touch a Life, we would like to say that, we are able to do this for all of the kids, but it's the kids that do so much for us.
Wow.
I'd like to say they do more for us than we do for them.
Really. Well, I want to thank you so much, Jan, for
Yes.
being on our show here at Let's Talk with Angelia and Nicole. And you can stay tuned and follow us with Let's Talk with Angelia and Nicole at letstalkan.com and also on all our social media platforms at Let's Talk AN. We love to see you soon.
Open floor plan, beautiful, great location. This is just what you wanted, girl.
Isn't that what you want too?
Yeah, but I don't have the best credit score.
Well, honey, neither did I.
True.
But I was still able to buy the house of my dreams.
But knowing how picky you are, you need to build like I did.
I got just the person you need to talk
No,
to.
call my realtor. She gives referrals.
So does mine.
Really?
Yes, really.
Tired of renting? Wanting to build? Looking for the right location? Credit problems? Call Angelia Dunbar Realty.